The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Terramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now. Here I'm Sammy Terramina, blogger of the Dragons Insider.
Yeah, what are you a blogger of?
Yeah, I am a blogger. Blogger of the Inside the OA blog and one of the hosts between Termina's and Orion Television. Like to welcome our friends hearing us on the local voice, also watching us on ONTV.
Yes.
And of course, watching us throughout Oakland County. Yes. And I have Ian Locke here.
I'm back again, Sam.
Yes, you are. We got a lot to talk about. We got boys basketball, girls basketball previews.
Yeah. Exciting
times.
New seasons.
But we got to recap something that occurred in the Division I state championship
I think it's more
game.
than something.
Yeah. The OA did not get a football championship again.
No.
Well,
They had one last year.
Yes. But had not been for a questionable decision by Clarkston coach Kurt Richardson to go for two in a 31-30, then Clarkston might have been back-to-back state champions.
Again. Yeah.
So what happened here?
Slugfest.
So what happened here? Set
people up if they haven't watched the game. Because it was a
great game.
The first half was not
Clarkson's defense got exposed.
Yes.
It got exposed. I mean, Clarkston all year, all playoffs, gave up a total of 20 points.
20?
20. You know how many Chippewa Valley put on? 31.
Yeah. And impressive fashion, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they
Two
were
passing touchdowns.
Yeah. They looked really good.
Yep, and then David Ellis goes nuts, according a 94-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. You said that sealed the game.
I'm telling you, because what did we say all along about Clarkston's run through the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
They don't hurt themselves. They don't make the mistakes. That was the one. And I know you're going to go to the two-point conversion because that's the obvious.
Well, a lot of people are going to say that's the obvious play.
It is, but I'm saying
that kickoff return to close the half was a killer.
Because the Mo was all in the Wolves' favor. They were coming back, and they were firing on all cylinders, and they lost their head for a second and gave up something that I don't think I've seen them do all year.
They have never given up a kickoff return.
I mean, you got to give it up to
Chippewa.
Yeah, man. They converted, but that was too easy.
But Clarkston fought back.
They did.
They fought back, got the score within 31-30, about 30 seconds to go in the game, and then Kurt Richardson decides to go for two.
Yes.
To go for the win.
Mm-hmm.
Call the timeout. Call the play call.
Weren't there a couple timeouts in there, a little gamesmanship to see what the setup was? Then he called timeout again, and they were going back and forth.
But here's the thing that I had two problems with this one.
Only two?
Actually, more than two.
I knew it.
But here's my first problem.
Yeah.
The play call. Why in the heck would you run a reverse when you know you have the tight end wide open on all he has to do is the other quarterback, Josh Luther, / receiver, all he has to do is throw that behind his back foot, a wide open tight end.
Yes, but Sammy, did you just hear what you said?
Yes.
Throw off his back foot.
Yeah.
Is that usually accepted? I mean,
No.
usually that's not. I mean, yes, he was open.
Yeah.
Wide open, but the play flow, I believe it was to the right, the short side, right? Short side. Well, it's an extra point, so you're in the middle. Mm-hmm. But it seemed that side was heavy, like that was strong right on that side, right?
Strong right. Yep. Or strong left if you're defense.
Yes. So when they started rolling that way, you're going, oh, no. I mean, it was clogged immediately. There was nothing there.
Nothing.
And then the Clark, I don't know who had the ball, but he forgot to.
It was Luther. Josh Luther had the ball.
Didn't pass. Didn't throw it. Just you can't eat it.
No.
You have to at least throw it. Just see what would happen.
Yep.
And I know you're right. The tight end was wide open. But in that instance, everything's going this way, and that would have been a miraculous play. And to be able to see the field that way, that's otherworldly.
And then here's the other one. And this is where I get really upset. what in the blue world do you just kick the extra point,
Yeah.
tie the game up at 31, and then you go to overtime, you had the momentum on your side, and you basically better your odds if you just kick the extra point. You have a kicker on that team that's going to Buffalo of all places.
I know. And that's my wife and I were watching the game. She works in Clarkston schools, and they're OAA. We're cheering them on, right? I mean, we're like, come on, you can do it. And when he said we're going for 2, and we're looking at each other, and she knew where the kicker was going to school. I go, where's he going? Buffalo? I go, D1. He's a MAC kicker, and they're not using him. I agree with you. That's odd, but I go, but I'm not going to second guess Coach, right?
This is where I'm going to question Kurt Richardson.
I'm not going to second guess him.
And I know if Kurt Richardson was sitting next to me in the podcast room, I would ask him direct. Why would you go for 2 when you have a D1 kicker? You could have just tied the game up and go to overtime where you had the momentum. If he would have had to do it over again, he would have done it.
I don't think he's a guy that's going to second guess himself. And maybe he left it up to the seniors. Who's the leadership right there? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want to do? We want to win this thing. And the coach's like, okay, trust your team. If you go into that situation with supreme confidence, good things usually happen. This time it didn't.
Sure, good things usually happen. But
you understand what I'm saying, right? I mean,
in the last few years with Clarkston Athletics, you know what I mean? A lot of good things have happened for them. Multiple state championships.
Yes.
Particularly in boys basketball and football.
Yeah.
But course,
I heard your voice in my head, Sammy, when they lined up for the 2-point conversion. I just heard it. What are you doing? I could hear you hollering.
That's exactly what I was saying to my TV. I'm going like, Kurt, what in the
what
blue
are
hell
you doing? I know.
That's what I said.
So, and I thought that initially too, because we're like, kicker. He's they could kick it from.
You have
distance.
a Division I kicker on that team.
Correct.
He could have just went and kicked the field goal.
Well, here's another question. I don't mean to take it sideways, but the quality of that kicker. What's his name again? I hate to just call him the kicker. I can't remember it offhand.
I know his last name's Matson.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seemed like majority of the game they were kicking short, right? And I could see why they were doing it because they were pinning them in deep. It worked for a while.
But
when you don't execute it right, you don't get it down.
Here's one thing that you should never ever do. And Clarkson did this in the second.
Right? Am I wrong?
In the first half, and it led to a touchdown for Chippewa Valley.
Yeah.
Why in the world would you kick it to Drew? Why would you kick it to David Ellis? And he takes it 94 yards to the opposite sideline for a touchdown.
So I don't know if it was a called squib kick, but that's what it looked like. It looked like he was intentionally kind of squibbing it, right? And you're like, okay, it hits the ground, and it'll.
Why would you squib kick it when?
Well, I said kick it long and just let him get it at
kick it long and let him get it to 20.
Correct. And that whole sequence for me was, I don't know if that was just a mistake or at the kickoff, they didn't mean to do that, or if that was called. It looked like it was a called squib. And I saw throughout the game that when they were kicking off, especially in the second half, that they were kicking it short.
Right.
And indoors, outdoors, these guys these kickers in the OA are kicking them, into the end zone, no problem.
Right.
So my mind is like, they have to be calling these short on purpose to pin them because it was working a couple times.
It was working a couple times, yeah, but still. But late in that first half of that touchdown, why would you kick it to him?
That was
especially when he was the one that was killing you.
I said I'd take a penalty out of bounds.
Absolutely.
As opposed to.
And then what didn't make things good for Clarkston was they had an awful start.
Yes, they did.
Awful. They gave up a touchdown to start the game. And then.
Well, did they have an awful start, or was Dakota just that
Chippewa
good?
Valley.
Or Chippewa Valley. I'm
Not
sorry.
Dakota. You're thinking the other school.
I know. I keep saying that. But the Chippewa Valley, they came out on fire. You got to give them credit. They were rolling, man.
Well, they had a senior-heavy team. When you look at players like Tommy Schuster, the quarterback, he was 13 for 13, I believe, for
amazing
250 and 2 scores.
Great performance. And not only that, they had size, they had speed. They looked like they were on a mission. You know,
They looked like it.
They were dialed in. And at the outset, what were your thoughts? I'm like, no chance. No
Chippewa
chance.
Valley has gone through a lot of emotion.
Yes.
A lot of pain.
Yeah.
A lot of suffering. I mean, like, imagine what Coach Scott Mersh and his team had to go through.
Well,
they went through at least 4 deaths in their program in the last 6 years. 4 deaths in their program.
Yeah.
And for them to win the state championship, it's good for them.
Yes. Yeah.
It's great for them. But
well, it was a heck of a game, though. I mean, at first I'm like, this is going to be a blowout. And then it turned into, ooh, this is really interesting. And I didn't know what to expect in the second half. I thought Dakota was going to come out with this.
It's Chippewa Valley.
Sorry, dang
Dakota,
it.
you're thinking
Chippewa
Dakota
Valley
lost to Chippewa Valley in the district final.
Thank you for correcting me. I just wanted to make sure you're paying attention. But Chippewa Valley came out on fire in that second half. And I'm like, they're going to do it. This is going to happen. And then Clarkston slammed the door. They really did. And the execution on offense.
They just ran it down the throat.
They did, and I was shocked. I don't know if they were winded, Chippewa Valley's winded or what, but it's like they expended all their energy in the first half, and,
I really wasn't impressed with Chippewa Valley's defense, even though, sure, they had a guy named Marcel Lewis on that team. I mean, he's going to Michigan State next year.
Yeah.
But I really wasn't impressed with their defense, to be honest with you.
First half looked pretty good to me.
I mean, yeah.
Good open field tackles. You don't usually see that from, really important open field tackles. Like if you miss, they're gone type of tackles.
I mean, but clearly that first quarter early on that was dominated by Chippewa Valley. Dominated by Chippewa
Valley. Was, yeah.
And in the second half, it virtually became a street fight.
It was 2 heavyweights.
Mm-hmm.
And it was blow for blow, each possession.
Each possession, then of course,
very entertaining.
Late in the game, I thought Clarkston really. I thought Chippewa Valley going to punt. I thought that was the right decision for them to punt the ball.
Yeah. What else would you do?
Even though it led to Clarkston's touchdown, but I still think Chippewa Valley did the right call there.
Yeah.
But
they were
right.
They weren't on the other side of their. They're in the opponent's side of the field.
Yeah, they were in the opponent's side of the field, but.
Yeah. No, I agree. I didn't have a problem with that.
But the only issue I had is mentioned with those 2 plays that you mentioned. The 94-yard kickoff return for a touchdown and the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
If you were Kurt Richardson, would you decide to make that play call again? Would you decide to go for 2 again?
Yeah. Because we don't know what was in the huddle, right? I don't know what was in the huddle. And my assumption would be that he rounded up his leaders and said, what do you want to do? And I wouldn't put it past those guys to say, we want to win this thing, right? I mean, that's the mentality. We're going to win this now. And they knew the risk. They knew the reward. And they rolled the dice. And
they rolled the dice, and it bit them.
It bit them, but that's a good life lesson. I mean, you make a decision, there's an outcome. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't, right? That's the whole point of sports, right? You learn more than just, hey, I won this game. You're going to learn a life lesson from it.
But if you're Clarkston, you know what I mean? You had a successful season.
Yes, and then the fans go, we want to win.
You had a successful season.
Correct.
This era's been really good.
Amazing, yeah.
I think Clarkston fans have to be spoiled for what they've gotten the last 3-4 years.
To some extent, I guess. I mean, how could you not? I mean, the expectations, it echoes back to media day. Remember? What did you ask Coach? Quarterback.
Quarterback, yeah.
And he goes, you said that last year too, and what happened? They won it, and what happened this year? They were there. They were in the mix.
Now let's go from next year. Let's look at the teams next year. Oak Park.
Yeah.
A lot of people say this is a team that could be the top of the OA next year. But they have a Warren De La Salle problem.
Yes.
They're going to have a good team. They got to replace the quarterback. Not going to be easy.
Never is. It never
Rose
is.
has to replace a lot.
Yeah. That was the team that I was, that was a tough one to see them go down.
Yeah, it was really difficult for them to go down.
Yeah.
We know about Harrison. We know about
which I still can't wrap my head around until this time next year, maybe.
Yep.
Or at the start of the season is like there's no Harrison.
And then when you look at next year, you know what I mean? You look at if you had to keep an eye on a football team next year.
Geez, Sammy.
Who would it be?
I don't know at this point. The last time you asked me that question, the answer I gave you laughed at me. Adams.
Yeah.
And for me, that was entertaining to watch them.
They do got a lot coming back.
Yeah,
though.
but that was this year. I can't say, I don't know. I can't commit to anything. I'm curious to see if Oxford can maintain. Can they recreate what they did this year?
That's going to be the question. They do lose a lot, but Drew Carpenter's back.
They do, but that quarterback is legit.
Yeah, Drew Carpenter's back.
Oh, man. And I would like to see if they can repeat what they did. I thought they could have gone further. I'm really surprised at how they went out. But
I think a team I'm watching next year is Southfield.
Okay.
Because to see
how do they respond?
How do they respond after missing the playoffs last 2 years? That's the team I'm watching next year.
And struggle in odd situations.
Very odd. That's the team I'm watching next year.
Okay.
Not being mean to the rest of the league, but that's the team I'm watching next year. My final thoughts on the 2018 season. It was a good year for the league.
Yeah.
Good year for the league.
You got somebody back in the title game?
Title game.
Yep. Others contending.
Others making the playoffs. But, it'll be interesting to see what happens next year.
Yeah. I thought it was a lot of fun. There were surprises.
Yep.
And I always like this to be surprised. You go and going, oh, yeah, this is who, you expect over the years, this is how this team's going to play, or this coach is going to do this. But there were a lot of cool little surprises. Some shockers.
Oh, yeah. A lot of shockers.
But nothing shakes my opinion that, hey, man, this is tough up here.
It is not easy.
No.
It is not an easy league. All right, we're going to take a commercial break here, and then we're going to talk a lot of basketball here on Oaa Now.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Music, weather, sports, and you.
Me?
Yes, you. You're listening to The Local Voice.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Welcome back to Oaa Now here. I'm Sammy Terrini here with Ian here.
Hey.
We got boys basketball now officially underway.
Is it really officially here?
It is here.
It's here.
It's here. We had Thanksgiving.
Oh.
And now it's here.
What, did you have a good Thanksgiving? We didn't.
I did. I had a nice Italian-style Thanksgiving.
Ooh, what does that entail? Because
lasagna.
Sammy, I love lasagna, dude.
I know you do. But boys basketball is here. Let's go based on divisions from the blue division to the red division.
All right.
But I want to get your thoughts on this. Actually, we got some breaking news here.
What?
We got breaking news here.
Breaking news.
Yes, we do.
Breaking news.
Southfield Arts and Tech has named a new boys basketball coach. His name is
just now.
Well, they did name him. Remember, I did not know about it until I just found out about it last week.
Okay.
His name is Daryl Buchanan. He is a former school board president at Southfield, and
I'm assuming coaching experience.
he does have some coaching experience. He coached a AU team at Southfield, the Transition Michigan basketball, a Michigan program. My thoughts on this move, I know he's got a lot of experience back. I don't like this hire. I really don't like this hire because I think that it's a really dangerous and risky hire because it's very different. He's been on the school board, politics, basketball politics. It's kind of like a difference maker here. I know he's got a lot of experience, but
Well, we've seen what happens when politics gets involved with
disaster
sports.
happens. Doom.
Nothing.
Doom.
Yes. I should load up an explosion because that's what happens.
Yeah, that's how I view it. You know what I mean? That's how I view it. But now let's go back to the divisions.
Yes.
Blue division.
There was some shuffling a little bit.
Scott Bernstein in my prep zone releases top 10 boys basketball teams on Sunday. Several OA teams are on here.
Do you have an issue with any of them?
I do have an issue with a lot of them.
When don't you?
When I don't. Okay.
That's a T-shirt, Sammy.
Yeah, it is.
I have an issue when I don't have an issue when I don't.
What do you mean you don't have an issue? But I do have a ton of issues.
All right,
with
hit
his
them.
top 10.
Let's hear them.
The first issue that I have is, and goes in the blue division, the Ferndale Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a new coach in Juan Rickman. They got 5 transfers in that program
From his previous
from
program.
at Detroit East English Village Prep, and Scott Bernstein put them number 2 in the county. So I'm saying to him. So I got in a little unique, interesting conversation with him.
Oh.
So I got a little interesting conversation. So I said to him, well, why would you're basically hyping these kids up, Ferndale, when you look at players like SUNY McElroy, Jay Sean Moore, Simon Wheeler, Colin Golston, and they're coming over from East English Village Prep.
Yeah.
And you put them with Tion McKeithen, Keelan Lucas, Brian Palozzo. And I understand you have a force to be reckoned with, but you still have some teams in that division who are going to scare you. And I think a couple of those teams, I think Ferndale is in an interesting spot because if that team doesn't gel together and if they struggle early on, I know they're playing a very tough non-conference, but you look at the two teams.
Which you're in favor of.
You look at the teams that I think are going to give Ferndale big problems. There are several of them. Oxford, obviously.
Okay.
Because of who they got. Royal Oak, defensive first team. I like what Coach Aaron Smith has done with that team. And he works for the Detroit Pistons.
Oh.
Yep. And Pontiac. Pontiac's another one. Because they can match up athletically with Ferndale.
Okay.
Everybody says Ferndale's the favorite in the blue. Me, I think it's Oxford. And the reason why I think Oxford is because I think the Wildcats have more proven experienced players and they're a physical team.
Okay.
Ferndale, on the other hand, they got experience. I get it. But playing in the OAA and playing in the Detroit Public School League are two different leagues. And how will a team like Ferndale respond to having to travel north to Oxford? That's brutal.
Yeah.
That is not a fun trip for them. That will not be a fun trip.
It's a long one.
And
do you see that Ferndale's plug and play? You know, we just pluck these guys from here and plug them in over here, and
I don't necessarily think so. But I understand Rickman has been trying to do like a community thing for Ferndale. You know what I mean? And pretty much similar to that when he was at East English.
Okay.
But I think when I look at this team, I think the OA, it's a much different league for him, And being in the blue, I think, is going to certainly help him. He's going to win a lot more games. And I think when I look at Ferndale, I see them potentially a Division II state sleeper.
Ooh.
I think they are a state sleeper waiting to happen.
Early hot take on the season?
That's my thoughts on Ferndale.
Wow.
Now people say they're the favorite, sure. But I think that would I have ranked Ferndale number 2 to start the year? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'd give them at least 2-3 weeks.
Give me about a
if they
few
start
weeks.
rolling people and it's a difficult, like you said, non-conference.
Yeah.
And
give
they
me
were
a few
rolling
weeks.
people.
Give me a few weeks on Ferndale.
Slide them around.
And then you look at the other teams. Hazel Park's not going to be very good. You look at Harrison, they're not going to be very good. And then you look
And that's
at
a numbers thing.
And then of course we have the Berkeley Bears this year.
Yeah.
Berkeley last year, Berkeley opened up the year with the
Amazing.
blowout win against they blew out Rochester Lutheran Hills Northwest. But the thing that I still have is their non-conference.
Yes.
Their non-conference is, I wouldn't say soft, but it's not manageable for them right
Like you
now.
said, maybe not as
They'll win a lot of games.
not as challenging.
Not as challenging, and that's what's bothering me with them.
Okay.
And I think for Berkeley, if I'm Joe Sermo, I'm toughing up that non-conference. I know he's got a nice blend of youth and experience. I like Armand Walker. He's a really good player for them. He's going to do Arshad Walker. He's a really good player.
Well, but
when I think of Berkeley, I think of what happened to him last year.
Yes.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got to. All the things, the hot start, they started off
10-0,
and then
right?
they ran into Rochester, Lake Orion. And then
I've never seen anything like it.
and then we know the Epics collapsed against Ferndale.
Oh, yeah. Yes. What was that was a 18-point lead,
22-1.
lead. Yeah.
23-1.
Yeah.
But
In
still,
the first half.
Yeah.
And they were coasting and lost.
they're coasting and lost.
At arrival.
And that's
But who do they have back? Is it the same troop? You
it's
have
a much different team though, Berkeley.
Yeah, so the guys who are new or let's say were waiting their turn, they have to have seen, that impacts those who don't play as well.
True.
And you have to be able to say, what did we learn from that, right?
I think they learned a lot.
Oh, if you can't learn from that experience,
I
you
think
shouldn't
they
be doing
learned a lot. I think they learned a lot. Now, I think Berkeley this year probably a 4th, 5th place team in the blue division this year
Okay.
because when I look at the division, and another team I'm keeping an eye on is Seaholm, because Seaholm went down from the white to the blue.
Yeah,
Did
that's
not
true.
look good against Troy, though. Lost
They played already?
58-45 on Tuesday night, yes. Did not look good. But they're a young team. They're a young team that's got some pressure on them. And I see Seaholm possibly below Berkeley.
Okay.
But clearly, the top teams in the blue division are Ferndale, Oxford, Royal Oak, and Pontiac. Those are the 4 teams in that division that I'm looking at.
All right.
I still think that Oxford's a team. I would say Oxford's slightly over Ferndale. And it's because Oxford, I think, is a proven team.
Yeah.
They had a rough year last year. I think Oxford's in the same boat. I think Oxford's in the same boat as Lake Orion was last year. Really similar. When Lake Orion went down from the white to
Yeah.
blue, they went to the blue when they divided them up from 4 divisions to 3 divisions.
Yes.
Lake Orion stayed in the blue. They ended up sharing it with Rochester.
And it had one of their better seasons
and they
on
had one
record.
of their better seasons on record.
Undefeated
winning
at
17
home?
games.
Yeah.
Winning 17 games. Let's go to the white division. The white's going to be very interesting
do you have?
because I think the favorite's Adams over Farmington.
Really?
I think it's Adams and Farmington, then Avondale, then Southfield, then Groves. And then you have Troy Athens and then Rochester. Rochester, we'll talk about them in a minute. They did not look good against
You're shaking your head, Sam.
They did not look good against Warren Mott. They did not look good against them. And I know they lost a ton. They lost a ton. When you lose 2 players that average 20+ points, 2 players,
Yeah.
that's going to hurt you.
It's got to be the bulk of your offense, right?
It was the bulk of their team last
what were they
year.
averaging per game? And if you lose 2 20-point scores,
Yeah, they lost 2 20-point scores.
that's what 85% of your scoring.
I think my dark horse Cinderella in the white I'm watching is Stony Creek.
Okay.
I like what the Cougars have done. I really like what Coach D. Norgrove has done with that team. You got Griffin Beers, who's a really solid player. They got Austin Eckler, who's not a bad player. But I really like, if they can find some consistent inside play, and that starts with Pat Galley in the interior, then I think Stony Creek could be a dark horse contender. Maybe, possibly finishing maybe a third,
Okay.
Maybe finishing third. But, Stony Creek is a team that's my dark horse team in the white. Now, when you look at Adams, I talked to you about Adams, and they're the freshman who is very talented. I watched him play I watched him play. I watched a couple of his YouTubes. I wonder if you ever heard of the former Piston assistant under Stan Van Gundy. His name is Gunnar Walters. There was a Walters that was on the Pistons staff under Van Gundy.
Okay.
Gunnar
vaguely
Walters is
remember,
his son.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it is.
It's his son, yep. Walters, he can shoot. He can dribble drive it, shoot threes, and you put him at the point guard spot, and you put a guy like Ethan Emerson, who was your 3-point state champ, one of your 3-point state champ last year, and you put him in the shooting guard spot shooting threes, that's scary.
Especially if you know you're really good at it.
Yeah.
Or reliable.
And then you have guys like Peyton Prescore and George Durach inside, Jake Schuler in the interior. I mean, that's a solid five if you're Brad Crichton.
Yeah.
And think about this. 2 years ago, that team was 0-21.
Yes.
That team was 0-21. And Adams, in my opinion, is probably going to be the favorite in that division.
Okay.
Now, Farmington was going to have a strong say about that because they have Jared Atkins, you have Terrell Humes, and then they did bring in a transfer from Detroit, East English, as mentioned in
Boy, everybody bailed.
East English, and Tariq Shepard. So the question I have for Farmington is the interior. That's the question I have. Now, when you look at another team I'm high on, it's Avondale.
Okay.
I mean, Avondale's a team that I saw them play the other night against Lake Orion.
Yeah.
And,
had a rough time.
well, they got players. Got Derek Kidney can play, Kobe Anthony can play.
Yeah. How many back from last year's team?
They got a lot back.
Because I just remember their athleticism and speed. They had a lot of it.
They got a lot of talent back when you look at Ezekiel Ringstrap, Kobe Anthony, Donovan Bowers. I mean, Avondale, the only issue that I have with Avondale is their biggest kid is only 6'5".
Okay.
And that's not good. There's going to be a lot of teams that have a lot of size. And that could be an issue for them going forward. But other than that, if Avondale can score in a variety of different ways, dribble drive, shoot threes, without a true big in there, then I think they're going to be fine. But until Tim Morton can address that interior situation, I don't know if they're going anywhere. But last year it was mentioned Avondale always improved.
Yes.
They also there's some things they got to address though too. Free throw shooting was not good. And that was the same problem last year for them.
Yeah.
And it's carried over to this year.
Yeah, free throw
shooting
were, at least the game I saw, were really, really bad. Like you said, but they did improve as the season rolls along, and you expect that from other teams, and that's how it goes. Sometimes you have little hiccups at the beginning of the season. You iron them out, and you work on it just like anything else. You play your first game, what do we need to work on? And you do so, and now that becomes an asset.
But when I look at Avondale, I think Avondale, in my opinion, very similar to Stony Creek.
Okay.
They are very similar. Dark horse team, questions in the interior. I mean, they got players who can shoot. They got players who can dribble drive. They could surprise some people this year. When I look at Avondale, Stony Creek, in my opinion, very similar boats.
Okay.
And then, of course, Troy Athens, very young team. Southfield Arts and Tech, we talked about them. You got some experience back for Coach for the new coach over there.
Yeah.
But I think I'm curious to see how they gel. And then, of course, Groves, we didn't talk much about them. Benny White, the new head coach, ton of experience back. I think Groves, it's going to be a learning curve for them this year for under Benny White.
Transition season?
Yeah, I think I expect to be a transition season for him.
Yeah.
I really do. And then Rochester, we talked a little bit of stages about him.
Yeah.
Didn't look good against Warren Mott. Lost 56-38.
Oh, boy.
And I thought, and I know Vance,
But when you say bad,
I know Vance Kirkwood personally, and that was not good.
is it just poor shooting or good defense by the opponent?
I think it was both. Well, let's not forget, Rochester lost two scores, their two top scorers last year. You look at Marco Gulich, and then you look at Hunter Schattler.
Okay.
Those two guys are gone. I know they got some players. Got Cameron Kagan's there. They got Corey Gulich there. They also got Ryan Noble there. Drake Reed there as well. But this is a whole different team for Rochester.
Yeah.
And I think they're in a load of trouble right now.
Well, some growing pains if you got that much
They got experience.
upheaval or
They got
change or whatever.
experience, but it wasn't good experience. But they got back. I'm not being mean to those players.
No. But, I mean, just like you said, I mean, it's situational, right? I mean, you go up against a decent opponent, first game out. Sometimes it works in your favor. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But don't you think it'll just grizzle you a little bit? We talked about that in the past.
It grizzles you a little bit. It really does grizzle you a little bit. Scott Bernstein, of course, in my prep zone, he ranked one white team in his top, two white teams in his top 10. He's got Farmington 7 and Adams 9th, which I totally disagree with. And then let's look at the red division. Bernstein has mentioned he's got at least five teams in the top 10 in the county for the red division.
Okay.
Which is
half
of it, yeah. He's got Clarkston at 3.
Oh.
He's got Oak Park at 5, West Bloomfield at 6, North Farmington at 8. I'll talk about them in a minute. And then Lake Orion at 10.
Okay.
So when I look at...
Who does he have ranked top?
Clarkston.
Oh, I thought you said he's third.
Clarkston was third in his top 10.
Okay, who in the top 10, who was first and second then?
Nobody
in the
Detroit
county?
Catholic Central and Ferndale.
Okay.
So North Farmington's the one I don't understand. Because, and I told Bernstein this, I know Todd Negoshian very well. I know him personally. But when I look at North Farmington, last year they had trouble scoring. They got a lot of length back. I get it. They got some solid players back. But, until proven,
right.
and I look at his top 10, I'm saying to myself, I would look at rework your top 10 again. Because
You told him that?
I would. If I
you
told him
would?
right now, I would
I
tell
thought
him.
you talked to him.
Because I think Lake Orion's better. I think Lake
Oh,
Orion
really?
is way underrated in this top 10.
Really?
And
Even
then-
after losing their top scorer?
Lake Orion?
Yeah.
I think Lake Orion's better in his top 10. Well, what I saw on
Yes.
Tuesday night. And then I look at, there's several teams I think that are better. Clarkston, we'll know a lot about them Friday when they play Stevenson. We'll know a lot about them. And then you look at West Bloomfield. West Bloomfield's going to be very good. They got Donovan Moore going to Toledo next year.
Okay.
Really, really talented player for Coach Jeremy Dennis' team. And they also got a ton of talent there. Oak Park with Malik Carr and company, they're solid.
Yeah.
But when I look at when we talk North Farmington, it's just
what's the hang
I've
up?
got concerns with that team. I got big concerns.
Okay.
I'm not being mean there, but North Farmington has a lot of red flags in my opinion. A lot of them. Already.
What are they?
Well, they have trouble scoring, obviously.
That's a big one.
They have a ton of trouble scoring. Now, I know they run that trap. They run a lot of different combinational defense. I know the Negocian family very well. But if you don't beat that 2-2-1 trap, you're going to have problems.
And in the high school game, if you're not ready for that, that can really throw people off.
And North Farmington's court really benefits. If you've ever been to North Farmington's gym, you know, their court is small, really small.
So it's, the players or the fans are close to the sidelines?
Really close, yep, really close. So that is
interesting.
That's interesting there. And then you have the teams that are not in his top 10 in the red. You have Troy and Bloomfield Hills. Troy basically won 58-45 against Sealam the other night, riding Brody Parker. He had 26 points the other night.
8:45, yeah.
Yep, Brody Parker had 26 of Troy's 58. Then Bloomfield Hills, Phil Kirchin's team. Got a lot of young talent back. A lot of questions there surrounding that team. But a team we haven't talked much about is Clarkston.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot, considering they lost a lot of talent. They got Fletcher Lawyer back, got Keegan Wasilic. You know, they got...
Didn't they lose their whole starting
They
roster?
lost all their starting roster, yeah, and they got a new coach in Tim Wasilic.
Yeah. You forget about the new coach, yeah.
Yeah, they got a new coach there, too. I mean...
Boy, how odd's that going to be?
It'll be interesting to see
new
what happens.
New face strolling the sidelines
First
for
game on Friday night against Stevenson. That'll be very
interesting.
Home or
away?
At Stevenson. So it'll be very interesting to see what that one happens.
Yeah.
And then you got Lake Orion. You know, a lot of people... I think Lake Orion could be a team that could be worth watching. Because you look at the Dragons, they got some talent. You look at Nate Talbot there. You look at Isaiah Harris. You look at players like Jake Ryquest, Kyle Loken. I mean, Coach Jim Ansel's got this team rolling in the right direction.
Any new faces we should watch out for?
If they're the player, besides Harris, watch out for a player like Cameron Sutton. I think he's going to have a big year. Mitchell Howell looks like a leader on the floor. He could be a player to watch. But the player I'm most watching is Dylan Bogeimer. I think he's going to be he is an interesting talent. I mean, like, you know, it'll be very interesting because Coach Jim Ansel's got options with him.
Okay.
I mean, Lake Orion can go big, can go all big or all small. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And having that flexibility allows you to adjust for anybody that rolls in the door.
True. That is true. And Lake Orion's got a brutal schedule. Really brutal schedule. I mean, not like brutal, but really tough schedule.
Okay.
When you look at having to play a team like Carmen Ainsworth middle of the year, that's going to be tough.
That's always a tough one.
But so does Clarkson. Clarkson's got to play Carmen Ainsworth as well. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with the Dragons.
For the basketball fans out there listening and watching this program, ON TV's on Tuesday nights going to have our coverage of in Lake Orion. So whoever rolls into town that day on a Tuesday night, we're going to have game of the week will be basketball on Tuesday night. So,
and mostly if you're in the Troy-Berkeley area, you're at CMN TV.
Yeah, CMN. Yeah, so they'll be covering their own games, so check those out.
Oxford, OCTV.
Yep, they do a great job up there in Oxford.
Clarkston Independence Television.
And they're starting to do more games with students at the helm, which is fantastic.
Yep, Clarkston Independence.
Correct.
West Bloomfield's got their own TV station.
They do another fantastic
West
group.
Bloomfield, I think, has got their own radio station. Avondale's got their own radio station.
So there's no excuse for any of you guys listening out there to not at least tune in and watch the games.
Or watch the games or listen to the
see
games.
these kids in action. Yeah.
No excuses.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. And the games, at least here in Lake Orion, will be streamed live that night. There's a subscription fee to MHSAA, but it's reasonable. And if you're on the road and your team's rolling into Lake Orion, hey, give it a go.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing how many games are now recorded and televised. And
we're going to talk a lot of boys basketball during this podcast.
Oh, well.
That's not
There's
even
a lot of there. No. I was like, what else would you talk about this time of year?
That is true. All right, now we're going to take a little break here. We're going to preview the girls' basketball season here because that starts next week here on Oaa Now.
This is the local voice, where you can listen to your favorite classic rock songs, as well as podcasts created by ONTV and its volunteers. If you're looking for a high school sports update show, we have Oaa Now. If you want to hear about some great movies, we have Movies for Dumb Guys. You can also create your own podcast by taking a course with us. For more information, call 248-393-1060.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. Here I'm Sammy Timmy here with Ian.
Hey.
We talked boys earlier. Now we get to talk the females.
Yeah. Always start a week later.
They start a week later this year because normally the girls always start first, but because of the Breslin Center availability, boys start earlier this year.
Oh, so they're trying to time it up to when postseason's going to get started.
Yep. And then let's look at the girls' side of things. Now, when you look at
any movements, people moving up and down, any changes?
Lake Orion Adams moved down to the red, the white.
Right.
Royal Oak and Groves moved up to the red. And then the blue division, Seaholm Rochester went down to the blue division.
Okay.
Of course, Harrison does not field a girls basketball team.
Yeah.
Now. And Avondale and Farmington both went up to the white as well. So very interesting when you look at it, but the favorite has to be Southfield Arts and Tech with who they've got back. You look at players like Alexis Johnson, Shai McEvans, Keona Willis, and then they added 2 transfers in the offseason. Soto Barnes, all-state player in Ohio, traded in Nordano, Ohio. Really talented player. Going to probably play that small forward spot.
Okay.
And then you have Jasmine Worthy, who was a center from Groves, who transferred over.
Oh, really?
So this could arguably be probably Michelle Marshall's, Coach Michelle Marshall's best starting 5 she's had in a while.
Yeah.
And that says a lot, considering the players she's used to have. When you look at players like Deja Church, who played there, the Bello twins, who are now at Minnesota. So Southfield loaded again as always. Royal Oak is my number 2 team. Came off a really tough loss to Birmingham Marion. They have Samantha Potter, Jessica Adams, Anna Ross, and Nia Conley back. 7 seniors are back.
7
seniors for them.
Boy, that's a luxury to have.
Oh, yeah, it's really nice luxury.
As long as they're contributors.
They are. And they are for Coach Brian Spott's
That's
team.
fantastic.
It is. Bloomfield Hills is my 3rd best team in the red division, of course. Jeff Rubin. They don't really have a true big besides Jordan Banks.
Okay.
They have Grace Getz, Miriam Hashim. They have a lot of 3-point shooters. A ton of them.
Hey, if you have a ton of them and they're good?
Yeah, they're legit.
But if you have a ton of them, they're average? That's
they
even
better. Legit. They are really legit.
Wow.
And then, of course, we look at Team Feinbaum, I call Stony Creek. Kellen James's team. You have Lily DePanny, Emily Elkhart, Lauren Bennett, Devin Valves, and Megan Solik. Megan Solik is like that pest of that team. You know, you want to just like fly swatter. You just want to fly swatter. That's how.
But you love players like that.
Yeah.
Don't you?
You do. You do. But Solik totally fits that bill of what Kellen James wants out of a player. Can get you steals, be that pest, you know.
See, I
then you have Eckhout scoring, you have Eckhout scoring, you have DePanny leading the team. Yeah. The only concern I have,
those are my favorite players, the pests.
The only concern I have, the only question I have with Stony Creek is going to be is Lauren Bennett a true power forward / center? That's going to be the question I have.
Okay.
That's the question I have, and I call Stony Creek Team Feinbaum. You know, if you watch Paul Feinbaum's coverage,
yes,
Stony Creek, perfect example. They're the perfect team to figure that out.
Okay.
North Farmington, they don't have a true big with Samantha Cherney moving on. Got 2 very good guards though, Maya Kelly and Molly Simpson.
Okay.
2 good guards. Clarkston girls basketball went to quarterfinal last year. Lost 4 starters.
Yeah.
New coach, John Wire. They returned 1 starter, as mentioned, Taylor Heaton. And they got some young studs ready to take the next step.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about that schedule, though. Our non-conference is brutal. They have Ypsilanti Arbor Prep. They have to play Wall Lake Western. That's brutal.
But would you expect anything else from them? No.
I'm just worried that confidence is going to really, it could kill them.
Well,
when you have a young team, it's going to kill them.
Yeah, and what's their junior situation?
They had a good JV year. They had a really good JV team, went undefeated. But JV and varsity are 2 different animals.
Yeah, it doesn't always translate. You might maybe 1 or 2 players can really, recreate what they did in the JV level. It's completely different.
It's going to be dangerous, though. I think it's dangerous.
I don't know. They're a machine over there. Those kids coming up through the machine. It's just.
We'll see.
But I agree. Like you said, it could be a buzzsaw. It could be a benefit.
It could be a benefit.
But it could be a confidence killer.
I think it's a confidence killer. I think it's dangerous over there. And then you have Groves, as mentioned. They do got 2 players back, 2 solid players in Ellie Rupert and Emily Felix. But for Groves, I think it's going to be a long year for them, going up from the white to the red. I think it's going to be a challenge for them.
Usually is. You have to adjust. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it gets real ugly real quick.
Mm-hmm. Let's go from the red to the blue division. Rochester, they got their 3rd coach in 3 seasons as Jeff Haney takes over that team. They got a lot of experience back when you look at players like Tori Hawkins, Sam Thiessen, Maddie Perkins, Alyssa Miller, Peyton Johnson. The future's bright, though, for this team. Yeah. And I think they're the favorite to win the blue division this year, Rochester.
Ooh.
So I think there's a lot more promise with the girls program than there is in the boys program at Rochester.
Even with a new coach and 3rd one in 3 years.
Yeah, but somebody who's been there, and Jeff Haney.
Okay.
It's somebody in there in Jeff Haney. I trust him. Over there.
Yeah.
Seaholm, my number 2 team in the blue division. They got a new coach in Chris Manchester taking over for Jamie Herleski. Ton of experience back for them. But I'm curious to see how Manchester's system is. I hear they're running them a lot over there at Seaholm.
Ooh.
Yep. Really interesting.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting.
But then again, see, that's good info.
But then again, coming from the boys' game to coach the girls' game, sometimes it doesn't always work out.
And you mentioned that.
Remember that last year?
Yeah, we talked about that.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
So if you're a boys' coach going to the girls' game, it's dangerous.
Dangerous for whom?
It's risky.
The coach.
It's risky.
I don't know, risky, but it's a different flavor.
Different flavor.
But if I like that inside scoop, got them running. Ooh, okay. Style change, up tempo.
Yep, up. They want to go run and gun.
They'll run you out of the gym, get you exhausted.
Yep, that's what the game plan is.
I'm telling you, if you got a couple point guards that can run it, and you got people with a good handle, you can run teams right out of the gym.
Right out of the gym. Berkeley, of course.
I like hearing that.
Yep, Berkeley, of course, they got a ton of experience back. 10 players returning for Berkeley for Coach Kirk Carolyn's team. That's going to be interesting. I don't like their non-conference schedule, though.
Too easy?
Too easy. It's just too easy.
So I have a question. Clarkston too hard. These guys too easy.
Yeah.
The way we were talking back in the spring, or I'd say winter when we were talking like the Berkeley thing, right?
Yeah. Berkeley was.
Too easy, but then too hard.
Yeah.
How can that be?
If you have a middle ground, it's good.
I guess. I'd have to see the list to say who they playing that would make it so easy or so difficult.
Oak Park, Ferndale, Hazel Park, and Pontiac, I think they're going to have a lot of trouble this year.
Okay.
They're going to have a lot of trouble this year. But Ferndale's got experience back. Oak Park got concerns with in the interior.
Uh-oh.
Hazel Park, they lost a ton of talent from last year. Pontiac, I really like this Brayla Bellin player.
Yeah.
And they got another one, too. But the depth's a big concern for me going forward for them.
Seems like the Phoenix depth problems are an ongoing deal. They'll have a superstar, and then they just supporting cast just isn't there.
Let's go to the white now. Farmington, very young team, lost a lot of experience last year, considering one who I called probably the most unique player in the entire league last year, Olivia Perkins.
Okay.
And and I said a lot of good things about Olivia Perkins. Really good player. I think Olivia Perkins is perhaps last year one of the most gifted players in the OA.
Ooh.
And I was really glad she got a scholarship to go play basketball.
Where's she going? Remember?
I don't remember, but
hey, you earned it.
But she did.
That's a lot.
That made me.
Blood, sweat, and tears earn a
I
scholarship.
was so thrilled for her.
Yeah,
I was
awesome.
really happy for her.
Absolutely.
Because she has suffered, going through the Harrison fiasco and then the Farmington, then playing at Farmington for one season.
Yeah.
But I was really happy for her. Now, for Farmington, for Laura Guzman's team this year, it could be a nightmare for them this year. They got talent back, but it could be a long year for them. Going up from the white to the blue to the white, it's going to be a challenge for them. It's going to be tough for them. Troy Athens, new for Coach Stacy Klump and her team. They got talent back when you look at Isabel Crum, Grace Blight, Abby Bright. I'm curious how they're going to replace Maddie Crum. I'm very curious how they're going to replace her production. They got a very unique non-conference when you look at the matchups for them.
Okay.
Very unique.
Any games stick out?
I haven't really looked in the Athens schedule yet, but I have looked at them. Kind of don't remember it out of my brain right now.
Well, obviously it's coming down the line. We'll know.
Yep. Adams is an interesting one for me.
Okay.
Because Adams on Twitter always posts all their how they're doing, you know what I mean? Like how they're energized, getting ready for the season and all that.
They hype.
They hype themselves up, and then all of a sudden it's like, what are you doing? And I know Shay Lewis. I know her personally. I call her Sugar Shay. She has her own radio station. She has her own radio station.
Really?
Yes. She's a host of her own radio station.
Very cool.
She's a good coach. But I've got concerns about this team. They don't have a lot of experience. They had a lot of young experience last year.
Okay.
They got some back this year. Just a lot of questions when I look at Adams. Just a lot of questions. They got some talent, though. But it'll be interesting to see what they have.
Okay.
Be interesting that they have. Troy, with Simon Botto, he's got a ton of players back, as mentioned, as well. I am concerned about their non-conference. And they do have an incoming freshman who's coming in who's very good. She was supposed to play at Madison Heights Bishop Foley.
Oh.
But the parents couldn't afford it, so she's back at Troy. So, very interesting to see what happens with them this year.
Okay.
Really interesting. Avondale, new coach in Bob Lees. Ton of experience back when you look at Olivia Russell, Carrie Lee, and Keziah Buggs, Andrews Willis, and Madeline Harold. Very interesting. I am concerned about their depth, though. Depth might be an issue for them. But Lees' coaching background, very similar. He comes from the boys system, but this is Gary Freilich system. This is Gary Freilich we're talking about. He is one of the best coaches in the entire state of Michigan. And his assistant coming in from the girls' game, getting that team and the momentum right now. They're gonna be a dangerous team to watch. Next is Oxford. A lot of experience back for Coach Rachel Bryan and her team. When you look at players like Ashley Hirschman, Laura Mentor, Mackenzie Mentor, Emma Van Loon, Sarah Terrell, Helena Cato, and Anna Reb. Oxford had a really good year last year. Won 15 games a year ago. They're going to be solid. They're going to be very solid. West Bloomfield, everybody back for Coach Burt Mosley. They're going to be favored. And Lake Orion. New coach in Bob Bridges. Interesting to see what happens.
Yep.
Got a lot of talent back. Led, of course, by Sophie Wyborski. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Very cool.
All right, now I'm going to sign on off here. My final thoughts here. We'll see what happens heading into the year. And
I'm excited. Aren't you excited?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
All right, now, everybody, I'm Sammy Tierney here. I'm signing off. Good luck, everybody. Take care, and see you all next week.
Here comes basketball season. Thanks, Sam.
Yep.
Oaa Now is produced by Sammy Tierney, and the views on this show are his and his alone. Like to make your own podcast? Give ONTV a call at 248-393-1060. Tune into those community televised basketball games, will you please? See you next week. See ya.